The mansion stood at the edge of the city like a silent monument of wealth and loneliness, surrounded by acres of manicured gardens, tall iron gates, and fountains that sparkled under the morning sun. It belonged to one of the richest men in the country, Ethan Kingsley, a powerful millionaire whose eyes carried more sadness than pride. Ever since the tragic death of his beloved wife, Amelia, he had been left alone with 6 beautiful twin babies, 3 pairs of little angels who carried both his joy and his heartbreak. Each nanny who came to care for them left within days, some within hours. They said the babies were too much to handle, always crying, always restless, as if they too mourned their mother's absence. The mansion became known among the town's caretakers as the House of Tears, where no nanny ever lasted. Ethan, though he never admitted it, had given up hope of finding anyone who could bring warmth into that cold home again. But fate has its way of sending miracles wrapped in unexpected forms. One rainy morning, when the sky was gray and the staff scurried to prepare for Ethan's business guests, a woman named Clara arrived at the gate, drenched and shivering, holding an old bag and a cleaning broom. She was not there to apply for a nanny's position, she was there to clean the mansion's marble floors. Her husband had left her years ago, and with a sick mother and a young son waiting at home, she took any job she could find. When the head butler opened the gate, he frowned. "We don't need cleaners today," he said coldly. But Clara begged for a chance, even if it was just to sweep one hallway. Moved by her sincerity, he let her in. As she began mopping near the nursery, she heard the sound of babies crying, 6 tiny voices echoing in pain and loneliness. Her heart softened instantly. She peeked through the glass door and saw the chaos, bottles spilled, toys scattered, and the current nanny pacing in frustration. Without thinking, Clara walked in quietly, humming a soft lullaby her mother used to sing to her. The babies turned their heads, wide-eyed and curious. Within minutes, the crying stopped. She lifted one baby, then another, rocking them gently while softly singing. The nanny stood frozen, speechless. For the first time in months, peace filled the nursery. Ethan happened to pass by at that very moment, preparing for a meeting call. When he saw Clara holding his children, his eyes narrowed in surprise. "Who are you?" he demanded, his deep voice filling the room. Clara turned, startled, and stammered, I'm the cleaner, sir. I was just trying to calm them." Ethan looked from her to his babies, who were now cooing and giggling happily. He didn't know what to say. For months, no one, not even professionals, had been able to soothe them. Yet here stood a poor cleaning lady, achieving what everyone else failed to do. Without realizing it, a spark of hope flickered inside his guarded heart. He cleared his throat and said quietly, "You may stay." That night, for the first time since Amelia's passing, Ethan slept without the sound of crying echoing through the halls. The next day, Clara began working as both a cleaner and a caretaker, though she never officially asked for the role. She treated the babies like her own, calling each by name, Oliver, Olivia, Liam, Leah, Mason, and Mia. Her days were long and exhausting, but she never complained. She made homemade baby food, sang lullabies while cleaning, and played gentle games that filled the rooms with laughter. The other staff, who once thought she wouldn't last a day, began to admire her. Even the grumpy chef smiled more often now. Ethan, who usually left early and came home late, started noticing small changes, the smell of warm milk in the kitchen, soft music in the nursery, and giggles replacing silence. He found himself pausing outside the door sometimes, watching Clara play peekaboo with the 6 little ones, his heart caught between grief and something new, something he hadn't felt in a long time. One afternoon, as Ethan prepared for a business trip, one of the twins fell ill with a fever. The doctors came and left, but the child wouldn't calm down. Clara stayed by the baby's side all night, using wet cloths and gentle humming until the fever broke at dawn. When Ethan returned unexpectedly and saw her asleep on the rocking chair with the baby in her arms, he felt something shift deep within him. He had seen countless women in his life, beautiful, ambitious, charming, but none had ever looked as radiant and strong as this tired, simple woman with love written all over her face. He realized then that true care couldn't be bought, it came from the heart. Days turned into weeks, and Clara's presence transformed the mansion. Flowers bloomed brighter, the air felt warmer, and laughter became a daily melody. Ethan began spending more time at home, helping feed the twins or reading bedtime stories while Clara watched from the corner with a smile. The staff whispered that perhaps love had returned to the Kingsley home, not romantic love yet, but the kind that heals broken hearts. Still, not everyone approved. Some relatives and business partners mocked Ethan for letting a poor maid handle his heirs. One evening, during a dinner gathering, one guest sneered, "You trust your empire's legacy to a cleaning lady." Ethan, once silent in such moments, replied calmly, "She's done more for my family than any of you ever could." His words silenced the room. But that night, Clara overheard the gossip and quietly thought of leaving. She didn't want to be a burden or a scandal to the men who had shown her kindness. Before dawn, she packed her small bag and wrote a note of gratitude. But as she tiptoed to the nursery one last time, she found all 6 babies awake, as if sensing her departure. Their tiny hands reached out for her, their innocent eyes filled with tears. Her heart broke. At that moment, Ethan appeared at the door, holding her note in his hand. "You were going to leave without saying goodbye?" he asked softly. She turned away, tears falling. "You deserve someone better to care for your family, sir. I'm just a poor woman." Ethan stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Clara, my children haven't smiled like this since Amelia died. You did the impossible. Please, stay." And in that quiet, sunlit room, surrounded by 6 giggling babies, the walls that had once echoed with loneliness began to feel like home again. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a story that would change both their lives forever.